Hey everybody, Jake with Myers Flies. I'm going to tie up this little olive stonefly pattern. I'm going to be using something a little bit different as far as the body material goes. We're going to use a little bit of this Spindrift yarn. It is really buggy and it brushes out really nice. You can use these on bodies for other nymphs and so forth. And this is just a real simple nymph. You can do, a lot of times I'll do, as far as the legs, I'll put, like a Hemingway type synthetic leg or lively legs, or I'll tie in biots, or, I do a bunch of different things. This is a real simple stonefly that has worked really well. Sometimes I'll put the little antenna out of the front and all that kind of stuff. But this past spring, this little, simple pattern caught a ton of fish, and some really nice fish too. So, you can get real fancy with, the wing case. You can layer the, like the turkey tail, like some do, and cut out, with like a wing cutter and put those on. You can even use, this is just pheasant tail. You can kind of layer it. A lot of times I'll come back, tie it in, fold it over, tie it, pull it back, to where you get like 3 humps on there, things like that. But this is just a real simple thing that you can do that just fills up the fly box real quick. So we're going to get into tying it here. I have found that this is a Daiichi 1260 curved hook, and this is in the size 10. And I've just found that proportion wise and size wise, this size 10, I've had little brookies take this thing, and I've had big 20-inch plus fish nail this thing. So I just found that this size 10 proportion wise is good. And also it just gives a wide range. Sometimes you'll find, smaller stoneflies or really big stoneflies in the water. And this just is a happy medium, I guess, for me. Now this is a 3 millimeter, just a black nickel tungsten bead. And sometimes I'll put, some lead on here, and you can make it as heavy as you want, and you should have different kinds, different weights. A lot of my stoneflies will be, with just brass beads, and then some with tungsten beads, and lead. And so that way I know that if I need something a little heavier, I like to adjust my fly as far as weight goes and change my fly off rather than just put split shot on. So I like, if I can get away with it, I don't want to put split shot on. So it just gives me better contact with the fish to my fly, and there's nothing in between there. Now I'm going to run this back to about where that hook barb is going to be. You can smash those. I always smash the barbs down. And so you're just going to take and just a little ball of thread back here. It ain't going to take much. We just want to splay that out a little bit there. Okay, it's just a little bump. You can barely even see it. Just a little bump. Then I'm going to take some olive goose biots, stripped biots, and there's a natural bend on that. You can see how it curves that way. I want that curve going out. That is away from my hook. So when I put that on, see how it naturally just splays out. So you don't want these tails real long, but that bump there is going to help that. See how it splays out from your hook. And I put one on at a time. You can do 2 at a time. But I like to put one on, get it right. See there, you can see how that tail will splay out real nice. That bump. I'm going to just tie these biots in all the way up. See, it just I love fishing these stone flies. You know, a lot of times I'll use 2 flies, and one of them's going to be, you know, I like the eggs, just the eggs, but the other's probably going to be some variation of a stone fly on the bottom, you know, my heavy anchor fly, and then something different up on the tag. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie in just this piece of, that's like a yellow DMC thread, and I put that in the, you know, the title screen there. And that's all that is. I'll show it to you here. Just DMC thread. And they have a number on the back. This one's 973. That just goes with the color. I love this thread. It's pretty tough. And I'll cut that, and there's 6 strands inside of there. So you can get a lot of flies out of there. I use them for midges. In fact, Don Holbrook's book, Midge Magic, a lot of the midges are used out of that. Now I'm just going to take this Jameson Spindrift. This is just Jameson Spindrift yarn. This color is called Bracken. Braken, I think it is. Just Bracken. So now I'm going to tie this in. This is going to be my body material, everything. And I'm going to tie that in on the far side of my hook, so it'd be closest to you that are watching. I tie the, you know, this is going to be my ribbing. What you could use yellow, you know, yellow wire, you know, if you want to do that. I like using these different kind of threads. I tie that on the closest to me, and that's just because I'm going to counter wrap around here. I'm going to advance my thread up to about this position. Then I'm going to take that and spin it around the hook, and this is just going to be the body. You can see how buggy that stuff is. This stuff is awesome. You can get this in all kind of colors. We have several colors at the fly shop there at Myers Flies down in Dallastown. I'm just going to bring that up. Okay, I'm going to tie this. You can see how it, you know, gives a really nice, you know, shades. I mean, there's just different colors in there. It looks really cool. So now I'm going to take this, and there's a way that you could twist it to kind of cord it up, or if you twist it the other way, it kind of loosens those braids. I want to kind of just cord that up a little bit. It's not, you don't have to be crazy with it. And I'm just going to counter wrap this back around and just use that as a segment. Okay, now once I get it up here, I'm just going to tie that off, cut this. You notice I did not cut this, because now what I'm going to do is just pull this back around, same side, the far side of my hook, and I'm going to bring that back and let that tie in, because now I'm going to put my pheasant tail in here, and then you know, that's going to allow me to just use that for my body. I'm just going to bring that up, just going to fill in this little gap right here a little bit. Now when I pull this pheasant tail off, I like you know, I like some legs on here, so I'm going to use probably 10 or 12, you know, maybe a little more. Just pull out a clump of those pheasant tail, and I'm going to put them. There's a top side and a bottom side to a pheasant tail. So you've got the under, that's the underside, and then obviously the top side is your finished side with the more color. So I'm going to take that unfinished side, the bottom side, and that's going to go up. Okay, so when I pull this in and I tie this in here, I'm going to do a loose wrap. Okay, I'm going to pull that back to where I want that. Okay. Now, what you can do is just to kind of just see if you're where you need to be. When I kind of push these back, I want those tips to go at about where that hook point is, just in front of that hook point. Okay. So when I pull those back, that kind of gives me an idea, and I can pull just a little bit there, and that's going to be good. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just wrap this back on top. I want to make sure this is staying flat here, because it's going to be our wing case. I'm going to pull that back to where, you know, I've got probably 4 of these segments. You have to remember, on a stone fly, you know, this the thorax part is a little longer than the abdomen part, so, you know, just a little bit of proportion. Now I'm going to take this and again just wrap this up, and I don't want to overlap this because it's kind of thick, so you don't need to like really overlap it. So just put one right in front of the other, just wrap that right up around, and I'm not pulling too tight on it, and that'll finish right up behind that head. And I can kind of take 2 wraps in the back, then I kind of come around to the front with 2 wraps. Be careful you don't cut off your... Now this right here, what I'm going to do is just take half of those and pull them this way, and half of them and pull them that way. So you're going to kind of divide that just a little bit there. Okay, and then I kind of pull those and pull them back, throw a wrap or 2 in there, then you pull your wing case up and over, pull all that back together, and then what I can do then is I just kind of pull on this to get everything tight in here, and then I lift it and give me a couple wraps in there, and that's it. And so now I can kind of come in here and do a whip finish on this. And 4 or 5 turns. Okay. And then what I always like to do is come up here with a little bit of bone dry Slayer. You can use Zap-A-Gap or Hard as Nails or something like that. Just kind of hit that. That's it. Then I'll kind of come under here, and this stuff you'll see, you can just take a little piece of Velcro or your bikin or something and just pick that stuff out. But that is a buggy looking little fly right there. Sometimes if it hangs down real crazy, I'll just come about the bottom of the hook there. But that gives a nice little pattern right there. I mean, you can really crank a bunch of these things out when you're tying them. You know, obviously we're going a little slower recording, but you know, that yarn just wraps right up around real quick. And so give it a try. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. Stop down at the fly shop. Maybe you want to bring your vise down, and we can show you how to tie it down there. So thanks for watching, and check out MyersFlies.com. God bless.